We know about federation and how it's worked in the world of telecommunications, and we'll be drawing some analogies going forward which show how those same developments in cloud federation can be followed by an explosion of the cloud infrastructure that we think will happen going forward. And we'll be talking about some specific standards activities in IEEE, in Insights, in JTC1, and in NIST. Here's our panel. You'll be meeting each of these people, and they'll give us a presentation, and then we'll have a Q&A session. I'm from VMware. I'm Senior Director of Industry Standards. Bob Bond is from NIST. He's the Program Manager for Cloud Computing. Don Deutsch, the VP and Chief Standards Officer for Oracle. Joel Fleck is from CA Technologies, and he's the Principal for Industry Standards and Open Source in the Office of the CTO. And John Messina from NIST is the Supervisory Computer Scientist. Here's the agenda. We'll be talking, each of us, for a few minutes, and we'll allow enough time at the end for a Q&A, so we have an opportunity to have some give and take with the audience. I remember 10 years or so ago working in cloud in the early days at Cisco, and what I find really interesting is the implications of cloud computing in the world of consumer electronics. It certainly wasn't at all clear to me 10 years ago how important cloud computing would be in the world of consumer electronics and how that's changed the world of cloud and all of our consumer interactions. One of the things that is clear that in telephony and internet, the concept of federation created an explosion in those marketplaces. And it took many, many years. In telephony, it took 100 years to go from the early days of telephony to the point where you could pick up the phone and dial a phone number anywhere in the world and have your call be connected. That required federation. The agent for that federation was the ITU, and those lessons in telephony federation can inform our discussion of cloud federation. In the world of the internet, federation took 20 years, not 100 years. And in many cases, those standards were developed in groups like IETF or IEEE. TCP/IP was an important part of the equation, as was SMTP and POP and other protocols like that. Again, federation was what created the explosion that we see as the internet today. In cloud, it's taking longer than we thought. In fact, in the P2302 case, we started the standards effort quite some time ago. It hasn't progressed as fast as we thought, but the implications are just as important, and Bob Bond in particular will be talking about that. Again, a peer-to-peer federation model is what's needed. In terms of vocabulary, I want to talk about two major categories of federation. One is multi-cloud, and the other I would call intercloud. Multi-cloud is on the bottom of the page, and in that model, cloud federation is created by either building a multi-cloud multiplexing library that connects your application to multiple clouds. Of course, in that case, you're the one who has to track changes in cloud APIs. And we have some friends who are in this business, and they tell me it's extremely difficult to do that as the cloud providers evolve their proprietary APIs. It's also possible to write your applications for a multiplexing service that does that work for you. Again, it's a very difficult task. Cloud federation, or intercloud in the top of the page, requires the clouds to agree on resources that are shared among them. In the right-hand side of the page, they would agree on a data model, a control model, like DNS today, for example, and that would allow multiple clouds to share resources around the world and across time. We're going to be introducing you to two projects. One is underway at NIST, the Public Working Group on Federated Cloud, and the other is at IEEE P2302. These are projects with a common scope and purpose, projects where anybody can join and participate, and no memberships or fees are required. The NIST group is working on vocabulary and conceptual architecture. The IEEE group is working on an industry standard, which we hope, should it be successful, and we hope it will be, will result in international standardization, creating the kind of federation and growth that we saw in telephony and the internet. That's my introduction to this. I just want to mention that the IEEE Cloud Computing Standards Committee has 3 projects underway. Today, 2 of them are represented here. The third is IEEE P2301, which is a guide for cloud portability and interoperability profiles. The idea of 2301 is to develop a list of standards across the standards roadmap, not just IEEE, that are interesting if you are building or using clouds. What standards should you pay attention to?
Panasonic.